On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Of course, the censorship train is kicking into overdrive. We've got a few examples of that. Got a whole slew of stuff that's going on. And it really does seem like Kamala is crashing in a big way. She's tying herself up and affiliating herself with bad people. And we've got a lot of weird stories coming out there. Also a promise by George Santos to release some information. It's not come out yet. He's making it sound like it's not going to come out. We're going to talk a little bit about that, too. I'm not sure what's going on there. Again, don't fully trust George Santos, but it does seem like he's trying to make up for his wrongs in the past anyways. We'll see. We'll see. Again, actions are all that matter at this point of the game, in my opinion anyways. But let's get into it. We've got a lot to cover, as always. Lots to cover. I want to start off with this first and foremost. Man arrested in Arizona, DNC office shootings. Now, we talked about this story when it first came out, and there was people that were shooting at the DNC in, I believe it was Phoenix, Arizona at least for sure, but I thought it was Phoenix. All said, the individual was caught. Here's the thing, guys. I don't know if he's good, bad. I'm assuming he's a Republican. I don't know. But that's not okay. Period. This is bad behavior. If anybody on our side of the fence does anything illegal because they're pissed off at the deep state, I'm going to hope they throw the book at you. I'm just saying, there's no place for this at all on either side. Law breaking is not what we do. It's not what we're tolerating, and I'm going to call it out every single time I see it. I don't give a shit what side of the fence you're on. I don't care if you're my neighbor. If you're breaking the law, crap on you. That's all I can say, okay? So please, guys, be good. We're going to get through this. We're going to do this the right way. Have faith in all of us. It's a big deal. All right, early voting has started. We've got Florida's started the 24th. I guess was the ballot request deadline. Early in-persons the 26th through November 2nd. Wisconsin looks like they've got absentee in-person was 22nd to 3rd. They can request them up to the 31st, it seems, in Wisconsin. Maine early voting has started as well. It's just hard to read these stupid things. Mail-in ballot request deadline is the 31st, and election day and mail-in ballot due by November 5th. Michigan, Maine early voting started as well, October 26th. Georgia, we've also got, it looks like October 25th. I know here in California it's 26th, and just again, we have to get out and vote early. I'm actually going to be making changes. Normally on Friday, me and my girlfriend go out to eat after we finish all the stuff. Friday's my crazy day. So after I finish everything, we usually just go out to dinner because it's too hard for me to try to cook during the day because I'm just way the hell too busy. Because our election's the 26th and we're going to go that day, we're actually staying here on Friday. We're going to try to make something like soup or something where I can just cook all day and I don't have to think about it. But we're going to have something like that. And the reason we're doing that is so we can fill out our ballots, we can get together and figure it out, and we've already found the place that we're going to go vote, so I'm just letting you know I am going the first day of early voting that California has. That's the 26th, Saturday, and I will be doing that. Again, I hate voting, but I'm going to. We all have to, no matter what. No matter what. No matter if you're a gun owner, you're a Christian, and you hate the two sides, believe me, no vote is the equivalent of a vote for Kamala. Please, please, please. Exercise your vote. Not just your right to vote, which is a powerful thing to keep in mind right now because we've got all these illegal immigrants coming into play. But it is your, I don't want to say civic duty because I hate when people say that, but it is, I think, our responsibility to speak our legal mind, if you will, to use our legal vote and make sure it's being used by us. You know what I mean? That's what I'm concerned about. Make sure your voice is what is spoken for that ballot. Otherwise, they might borrow it and speak it in their voice, and that is worse. So please make sure you get out and vote. All right, off the soapbox for a moment. We've got some interesting information. Seems like a lot of this sex trafficking is, well, starting to crash down around their ears. Catholic Church is in big, big trouble. Check this out.
Largest settlement ever from the Roman Catholic Church for alleged child sex abuse. The Archdiocese of Los Angeles has agreed to pay out, and listen to this number, $880 million to more than 1,300 people.
The settlement could be the final chapter in what has now become a landmark battle of child sex abuse claims dating back decades. It's on behalf of more than 1,300 victims who say they suffered abuse by local Catholic priests and comes after months of negotiations with the Archdiocese. More than 300 priests have been accused in legal documents and public records of sexually abusing minors. The Archdiocese had previously paid $740 million in various settlements. bringing this total payout to more than $1.5 billion. The Archdiocese says it will fund those settlements with investments, assets, reserves, and bank loans. In a statement, attorneys for the alleged victims told CBS News the massive amount of this settlement reflects the amount of grievous harm done to vulnerable children and the decades of neglect, complicity, and cover-up by the Archdiocese, which allowed known serial predators to inflict this harm. Archbishop Jose Gomez, in a statement, said in part he hoped the settlement would provide some measure of healing to those harmed.
Yeah, and I have personal upset feelings about the whole Catholic Church thing. I went to a Catholic high school, and one of my very, very good friends got AIDS from one of the priests. I don't know if it was consensual or if he was raped or how it worked out, but whatever the case was, there were definitely a couple different priests at my school that got tied up in some of this stuff. And typically what the Catholic Church usually does is just move them to another diocese or another school. That's what they're notorious for. So again, I was brought up Catholic. I feel overly qualified to poke fun at it. I know most Christians hate Catholics because of all the crazy stuff we do. So whatever the case is, doesn't matter. It is what it is. But I have some strong feelings regarding all of that. Doctor delays federally funded puberty blockers report for political reasons. Yeah, so one of the problems we have with our research that happens in this country is money is granted to people, and literally granted through grants to people, and it's meant to push a narrative. And if for some reason your research doesn't demonstrate that narrative to be true, and you somehow expose that, you will never get another grant again. So what do? Well, you either do everything you can to prove what the grant is asking you to prove, whether you got to make stuff up to do it. We've seen examples of that happen. Or if the research actually pans out to where it looks bad for what they're trying to prove, then you just slow walk it. And in this case, this thing's been slow walked for about 8 years. 8 years. They've had research that shows the efficacy of puberty blockers across sex hormone therapies. And there's been a bunch of contention, obviously, about whether or not it's true. So there's prescribed 103 minor patients cross-sex hormones or puberty blocker therapies, as well as performed 165 cross-sex surgical procedures on minors. This is also one of the biggest, this lady, Dr. Joanna Olson Kennedy, is one of the leading physicians who runs one of the largest youth gender clinics in the United States. So she found out it doesn't quite work the way we want. This study did not prove what the study was intended to prove. So what they did is slow-walked it. They have not given this information. Why? Because Dr. Joanna Olson Kennedy, most likely, I'm alleging, doesn't want to miss out on the funding, doesn't want to be taken out of this program, wants to make sure she keeps getting the quan, as one would say. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. We've got a big, big mess in this world, and we're doing our best to get through it all, that's for sure. A lot of stuff on Kamala Harris. Let's start here because this is kind of a trip. So there's this picture down here of this blondie hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, by the way. She's not looking too shabby there. One piece, whatever. But, you know, Ghislaine's still rocking the bikini. Good for her. I'm just being a dick. Don't worry. Lauren, probably Powell. She owns The Atlantic. Is Kamala Harris's biggest bankroller and good friend. Who also is friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. Isn't that interesting? They're besties, and here she is hanging out with Ghislaine. Kind of a guilty by association thing, I would say. Again, we don't know, and if she has her day in court, then let's see how that pans out for her. Pulling out of the stops, Beyonce is also going to appear with Kamala Harris's Houston on Friday. There's a campaign rally going on. I'm sure there'll be about 14 people there. But at least Beyonce will be there. Now, I think one of the reasons they're bringing Beyonce is twofold. One, because they've got to get all the Epstein client list people to come out and try to help support Kamala Harris, because if she doesn't win, Donald Trump's going to put all these people in jail. Two, Beyonce is a giant star. She might actually bring some people. People will likely show up just to see Beyonce and hope to get some form of like a concert or something, right? That'd be their hope. So, yeah, Beyonce and all the other traffickers. That's how it is. Let's see. Oh, this probably shouldn't be here, but let's move this over here because I was talking about this. So a couple interesting Q posts that just popped up. 1871. So we've got those who scream the loudest find the connections one by one by one by one. Primary, affiliate A, affiliate B leads to affiliate C. marching the same beat. Coincidence? Logical thinking. This is what we're seeing play out. It's exactly what we're seeing play out. And of course, the infamous picture of Eminem with, Rachel Chandler. Yeah, there's another one. Where's Rachel? Who's talking about Rachel? But again, here's Eminem. Eminem's been very vocal against Trump and pro-Kamala. Unfortunate, because he's, a pretty good rapper, but looks like he's tied up in all this Diddy stuff too. Yeah, so we've got some concerns to share with all of that as well. Here's a good post. The new Republican Party. And a lot of people like this. This is bringing people together. Now, of course, anyone on the left is going to say that's not true, that's rhetoric, that's a lie, Trump is divisive and all this stuff. Right, we're going to get to that too here in a moment, but this is great. RFK Jr., pretty socialist individual. Tulsi Gabbard, definitely a Democrat. And, of course, Tucker was independent, pretty much. And, of course, Donald Trump used to be Democrat as well. Kind of funny how the game is being played, isn't it? So here is Santos talking about what he expects to bring to the table. I don't think it's happening, but I just want to kind of at least play through this, so check this out.
Oh, hey, guys. Gotta tell you something. It's so crazy. I just got off the phone with a source, and they're telling me that tomorrow the Kamala Harris ship sinks. You're going to see all the rats jumping off. The story that's going to break tomorrow is so damning and so bad that Democrats are going to distance themselves from her like something you've never seen before. And essentially, you might even see some asking for people to vote for Trump. This is wild. Stay tuned as this drops tomorrow.
Now, what's funny is I don't doubt that he's heard something. What I do have a hard time with is them getting it out. We'll see. I hope it does. I very much hope this gets out. Now, of course, George Santos had to post, folks, for the record, I, George Anthony DeVolder Santos, a.k.a. George Santos, am not suicidal. That kind of gives you an idea of what he very well could be up against, and that is my point, is that's kind of the typical thing that happens. Now, George Santos put out an update today, this morning. Due to the vitality of this video, the very large publication is now stressed over the fact I got ahead of them due to my inside source. Basically, he leaked it and fucked it up. That's what happened. George Santos could have stayed quiet and not said anything, and that story might have come out. But because George Santos said something, because he wanted to get the fame, because he wanted to be tied to what's happening, again, I don't know if he's a good guy, he's now possibly put this story in jeopardy. Good job, George Santos. Is one more thing you've fucked up. Was this on purpose? Or are you just so desperate to try to get back in the good graces of the American people that you fucked this up? Not sure which. Either way, looks like you might have fucked this up. Thanks. So he says, if they don't drop this story, I'm going to have a lawyer up and scoop them and expose their cover-up. I have no need or reason to come out here and say something so insane during a presidential election. So don't count me out yet. I've worked way too hard to regain the trust of the people after my shortcomings as a man. To the publication, I will not let this go, guys. Get your newsroom to straighten itself out and get the story published as planned. Hopefully that happens. We'll see. Again, otherwise, George, you fucked this up. Here's Trump delivering some interesting remarks about Kamala, almost wondering if it ties into George Santos's thing. Hopefully George Santos didn't fuck this up. Sorry, I wanted to say that so many times because it was borderline fun.
That she's taking days off at levels. Not seen. I hear she's taking another one tomorrow or something. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Maybe she knows something we don't know. That's bad, right? Maybe she knows something we don't know. Does everybody understand that? Maybe.
Maybe she knows something we don't know. Very interesting. Not sure what's being said. Anderson Cooper's getting beat up over this. For good reasons, I think. But he actually said something pretty powerful here in this 17-second long CNN clip.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years. You were vice president, not the president. But why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done.
Some voters.
So while doing the things that needs to be done while doing it, I was done doing the things that done, and I did it anyways after doing the done thing. So yeah, it's obviously been done. And if it hasn't, I'm going to do it after getting done doing it. So just letting you know. Wanted to make sure we clarified that for all of you out there. Here's some more great crazy stuff. CNN's Scott Jennings says Kamala Harris is a double threat. Not in the good way, though.
She doesn't want to answer a question. Her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
She doesn't have to be flawless, but she has to give you something. I mean, she's like a true double threat. You know, she's terrible on her feet when she gets unexpected questions, and simultaneously, she can't even answer the expected questions. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. You'd think she'd be prepared to do this by now. You know, what's a mistake you've made? Nothing. What's a weakness you have? Nothing. What's the first law you want to pass? Nothing. What's a policy difference between you and Joe Biden? Nothing. Over and over and over. Empty, empty, empty. If she were an animal, she'd be a duck-billed platitude. But look, it's a total word salad.
Focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president. But she did go into some of her plans for small businesses.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more, but what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one.
I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary. But when she's talking about trying to get you a house, I believe her.
Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost. Okay, she was asked direct questions, and she provided very circular answers. My colleagues Van Jones and David Axelrod and others noted that, you know, she provided word salad answers. And, you know, Anderson would ask her specifically direct questions, and she didn't provide an answer to them. When asked, Anderson asked the best question all night. Why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Why haven't you been doing this? 10-minute answer, didn't answer the question. So what she did last night, I don't think helped her cause at all. I think people were looking for, you know, how are you going to, you heard the one woman, how are you going to make my life better? That wasn't provided. Donald Trump bad is not going to get you to the White House. I hate to break it to her.
She's getting beat up badly, and deservedly so. She is a failure, abysmal. She's horrible at everything she does. Here's a great President Trump campaign video that's out right now. Check it out.
I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? Because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel.
Would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. The worst vice president in the history of our country.
I mean, of course, she was, you know, taught by the worst president in the history of our country, so I guess it makes sense. Kamala Harris is going to deliver a closing argument speech in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday at the site where former President Donald Trump spoke shortly before the January 6th riot, according to senior campaign officials. She's going to actually do it there on the ellipse 1 week before the election. We'll see what's being said there, but I'm curious how many actually show. We've got images of how big it was when Donald Trump spoke there. Some saying it even compared to when Obama spoke there, which was huge as well. It'd be interesting to see how many people actually show up in Kamala's campaign. We'll see. Who knows? It'd be a shame if they did something stupid like storm the Capitol. Shouldn't do that. A driver going the wrong way nearly crashed into Kamala Harris's motorcade in Milwaukee on Monday evening, according to footage released by a local news station on Wednesday. 55-year-old driver reportedly had an open beer in his car and was, well, failed multiple field sobriety tests. I guess we don't know for sure if he was drunk, but couldn't pass any of those things, and certainly driving with an open container is definitely going to get you thrown in jail. Man was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving and second-degree recklessly endangering safety. Yeah, that's not good. So, yeah, don't do that. There's a good rule of thumb. Here is more President Trump trolling the fake news. This is pretty damn funny.
There, Mr. President, but I just wanted to close with this. I know they're wanting me to speed this process up, but it's been such a treat having you in this room and answering
Look
questions.
at all these people. You know who they are?
Yeah, yeah.
The fake news. The fake news.
There's usually an offering plate. There's always an offering plate at the exit door.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
But, Mr. President, I'll just say to close with this.
Fake news is right, baby. Fake news. Amen. Here is kind of a funny thing. Obama yesterday versus Kamala 24 hours later. And people wonder why we're where we're at.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States. In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens.
So, of course, we're wondering how the heck did biases get so bad? Well, gee, I don't know. I've got a couple guesses. They keep kind of doing these same sort of stories to us. Here's another example, by the way. McDonald's, you know, the one that Trump went to and did his thing at? Yeah, they're now having to hire private security. Why? Because people on the left are extraordinarily pissed off. So they literally have armed guards clad in bulletproof vests are protecting staff. So where's the divisiveness coming from? One guess. We've got another example, I think, right here. I hope, if I did this right. Oh, yes, this is beautiful. Another wonderful leftist showing us how they feel.
Hi. I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful.
Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
No.
Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
That's
moral?
exactly right. That's how your side acts.
Oh, my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys...
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay.
you.
I'm sorry. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. God
bless you.
Ah, what a little slice of paradise that young lady is, huh? Oh, delicious. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so classic DC Swamp Playbook. Plan a fake story with a captured journalist media outlet, then cite the fake story in a political attack, similar to the fabricated Steele dossier story. And we'll play a little of this. Check it out.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States. In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within.
So again, just going to stop there, but The enemy from within refers to the politicians. I'm not going to spend very little time ever trying to defend, because I don't care. These guys are a waste of time. But it once again demonstrates how they, one, take individuals that are making shit up, that then gets put into a crap story, C-SPAN, and then they reference it. That's what do they call it? The Nancy Pelosi had it called out, right? And I forgot the name she used, but it's exactly what they're doing here, right? This is the standard practice that they do. They use some media outlet that puts out a fake story, then they reference that fake story as it's true, and that's how they get double coverage of it, and that somehow makes it valid. Again, that's not how the game is actually played. So this is part of what's happening in our country. Most of us are privy to it. Here is more examples of how Mophead decided to push this further, and she was being asked some questions that I thought were valid questions. Her answers, of course, were, well, standard.
Is the president aware of John Kelly's assertion that Donald Trump meets the definition of a fascist, and that Trump wanted the kinds of generals Hitler had?
I mean, look, you have heard from this president over and over again about the threats to democracy, and the president has spoken about that. You've heard from the former president himself saying that he is going to be a dictator on day one. This is him, not us. This is him. And it's not just us, the White House, saying this. You've heard it from officials, former officials that worked for the former president say this as well. So, do we agree? I know that the vice president just spoke about this. Do we agree about that determination? Yes, we do. We do. Let's not forget, I will point you to January 6th. What we saw on January 6th, 2,000 people were told to go to the Capitol to undo a free and fair election by the former president. It was a dark, dark day in our democracy, and a dangerous one. We have people who died because of what happened on January 6th. And, we cannot forget that. We cannot forget that.
I'm tired of hearing her talk, and I'm really, really tired of people that bang on counters when they've got microphones attached to them. Really? Really? Mophead? Come on, learn how to friggin' talk. Learn how to use a microphone properly. I do it sometimes on accident too, but she does it a lot. We just have to do this thing where I keep touching the podium. Oh my Lord. Whew. Anyway, it is what it is. Don't really care. I do, but I don't, right? Just saying. Whether you believe me or not. Donald Trump then posted this. Thank you for your support against total degenerate named John Kelly, who made up a story of pure Trump derangement syndrome hatred. This guy had two qualities, which don't work well together. He was tough and dumb. The problem is his toughness morphed into weakness because he became jello with time. The story about the soldiers was a lie, as are numerous other stories he told. Even though I shouldn't be wasting my time with him, I always feel it's necessary to hit back in pursuit of the truth. John Kelly is a lowlife and a bad general whose advice in the White House I no longer sought and told him to move on. His wife once told me at Camp David, John admires you tremendously, and when he leaves the military, he will only speak well of you. I said, thank you. Obviously, that's not true. So, Keith Kellogg put this out. Kamala HQ, Vice President Harris, Trump said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. He wanted a military that is not loyal to the Constitution, but loyal to him. This is a window into what Donald Trump really is from the people who know him best. Now, first off, this story came out like 5 years ago. This is when Trump supposedly made this comment. Now, again, it's of course being taken out of context, like always. And part of it is the generals that, I'm not going to try to, because I'm not a historian, but the generals that Hitler had were taking care of business that Hitler wanted to take care of. They did what he needed to be done. They didn't necessarily try to stab him in the back every step of the way, which in those days might have been bad for their life or livelihood. All said, Keith Kellogg said, Vice President Harris is a fraud. I was told in the White House as a senior level much longer than General Kelly. He is complicit in this fraud and has lied to the American people. His lies, as well as John Bolton's, are a disservice to nation at this critical time. So are the VPs. Yep. So this is what's going on. We've got the standard thing. They did this last election, right? Standard practice. It's from the same playbook. So John Kelly joins board of companies operating the largest shelter for unaccompanied migrant children. Isn't that funny? This is what John Kelly's currently doing. He joined a board of a company operating the largest shelter for unaccompanied migrant children. Gotta almost wonder. You think he's been to Epstein Island? Gotta wonder. Gotta wonder. But Lee Smith says, is this a front for child trafficking? And here he is saying all the things he's saying. Remember, folks, the people that come out speaking the loudest, waving the flag the strongest, being the most angry, are most likely some of the most guilty people out there. They realize what's coming. They realize that Donald Trump and the law are going to come for them. And this isn't trying to get back. This isn't revenge. This is people doing criminal things that will be caught, will go to trial, will likely be found guilty. I'm going to assume they're innocent until they're proven guilty. And for those that have done things that are treasonous against this country, well, that'll be handled through a military tribunal and likely the end of a reasonably short rope. Probably. Or a chair that has really high voltage, or really it's the amperage that kills you, but whatever. Major incitement to violence against real Donald Trump is what Elon Musk is posting, and it's regards to Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin says, I can't imagine why people try to assassinate him. And it's Kamala Harris's post. Donald Trump is out for unchecked power. He wants a military like Adolf Hitler had, who would be loyal to him, not our Constitution. He is unhinged, unstable, and given a second term, there would be no one to stop him from pursuing his impulses. They are scared. Kind of fun time to live through, isn't it? So listen to this. We've got Kash Patel talking about some cool stuff. I actually got two things back-to-back with Kash Patel. Love this dude. Love the stuff he says. Pray that he's in the next administration, and I'm almost sure he will be. Not sure what his job's going to be, but I guarantee he's going to do an awesome job. And I think a lot of people are talking about him maybe heading up, the Department of Defense, or maybe like Merrick Garland, or possibly FBI, like Chris Wray. Who knows? He'd definitely be a good choice in a number of those positions, I think, based off what I know of him. But here's Kash saying some awesome stuff.
They did not like.
Let's start at the beginning, though.
So, Kash, I'm not quite sure why a presidential candidate comes out to react to a story in the way that she did, particularly a story that, even if it were true, is at least 4 years old, if not older than that, because John Kelly was gone as chief of staff not too far into the administration. And why would it come out now, just 13 days until Election Day?
Because they want to put President Trump and his powerful national security policy on defense. We are not going on defense. When President Trump was a commander-in-chief, he went on offense. He ended the forever wars. He crushed the narco-traffickers. He brought home hostages. He ended child sex trafficking. And he was brave enough to use military assets in an expansive order to keep not only Americans safe, but the global world order safe. He made sure the DOD was no longer politicized and weaponized. Every one of the names she mentioned, all those individuals begged and auditioned to be in the positions they got. And when President Trump told them that the Department of Defense is a civilian chain of command, just like President Washington and our Constitution designated it to be, they did not like that. They were fighting off 60 years of the defense industrial complex owning the Department of Defense, and Donald Trump restored civilian authority to the chain of command. And he executed that when he asked for an investigation into Vanessa Guillen's death, tragic death, so we know what actually happened, and so the military could provide her the full honors and designation she deserves. That's the commander-in-chief they want. What they want now is us to react to headlines, and I'm going to remind the world what Donald Trump did as our commander-in-chief, and I am going to remind the world that he was the one that did not politicize it and did not bend the knee to Washington, D.C. and the generals that have been going in and out of the defense industrial complex, raking in tens of millions of dollars off of another man's war and sending men and women to die for matters that aren't our own. That's what they are afraid of, that President Trump will restore the DOD to the civilian chain of command the Constitution demands and safeguard this world and our nation.
All right, Kash Patel.
Thank God. And again, we're not, that's why there's so many stories I don't even bother covering. There's all sorts of scandalous stories that come out of these stupid rags. ABC News is like so many stories. It's so many stories. And they want us to talk about it. They want us to give them reach. That's what this is. When we talk about what the deep state's doing, when we put their stuff and say, oh my God, I can't believe they're saying this about Trump, we're giving them reach. Nobody's watching ABC. Nobody. But when we play ABC stories, which I put some on there, but like I said, I try to qualify them the best I can, and I skip You guys don't even realize how many I skip. Obviously, I can't show you the ones I don't play. It's like when my filter works. I can't tell you what I was gonna say because the filter worked for like first time in weeks. Happens. I hate when it happens, unfortunately. Here's more Kash Patel talking some more crazy stuff.
They were exposed by the president. Remember, these guys begged to work in the Trump administration. Right. Milley, Kelly, Esper, all of them. And then when President Trump restored the civilian chain of command that the Constitution requires the President of Washington set for us, they got ticked off when he took away their nest egg in the defense industrial complex. And he said, no, I, the commander-in-chief, run the Department of Defense under civilian authorities invested in me in the Constitution.
Right.
They got really ticked off. And then he started looking into the corruption and saying, what's all these billion-dollar contracts, all your friends in DOD, and why is this revolving door keep opening and shutting? What happened to not having a politicized national command authority? He exposed it all. And now they're coming back with more made-up stories about Vanessa Guillen tragically digging up that and calling Trump Hitler, and that's all they got left. If Kamala Harris wants to make a press conference at the White House of the United States in the waning days of the campaign and put out vitriol, then America knows exactly the type of commander-in-chief she's going to be.
Yeah, pile of crap, which she's demonstrated over and over and over. Russia leveraged hurricane disinformation to deepen U.S. divisions. Again, Axios, a site that sucks. I do share stuff from them because they cover, you got to understand, for every crap fake story, there is something in there that's maybe a smidgen of truth. Otherwise, they have nothing. Now, what they do is they take that smidgen of truth and they change it so it looks different than it actually is. So sometimes that's the point of bringing it up, is to explain what's actually happening, or it makes a fair talking point. But Russia helping propagate disinformation about Hurricane Helene and Milton now. Think about that. One, this is a push for censorship. Big time. Push for censorship. One of the avenues they can go down is that Russia's doing this, Iran's doing this, China's doing this. If they use any of those, they're hoping people like us will be like, oh no, we got to stop this. But we understand that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to screw with free speech. And they're making shit up. I don't think they care about Hurricane Helene and Milton. That's people like us. But remember, they want us to get blamed like Russia's talking to us. Remember, I forgot who it was that got directly tied up in it. Oh, it was someone I listened to, and I forget the chick's name. She's half Asian. She's gorgeous. And she got tied up in this. Supposedly gotten money from Russia and is spreading these rumors, as they say. Chen, what's her first name? I can't remember her first name, but whatever. She's tied up in this. Again, I don't know if she's guilty. Supposedly her husband has made some deals. And it wouldn't surprise me. She kind of came on the scene and became super famous, but she's also does a good job. She's very pretty. She's got a lot of things going for her that kind of help in this world, in this business, things that I can't relate to. I just try to make up for it with humor and maybe my voice, if I'm lucky. All said, yeah, it's Russia's fault. Keep that in mind. Yes, blame Russia. Russia bad, very bad. All right, bunch of crap in here. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Thursday announced $135 million in new humanitarian assistance for Palestinians and said American negotiators will meet with Israel and Qatari counterparts to revive talks on ceasefire despite uncertainty over Hamas's participation. Now, again, they're trying to end this war the best they can. It's not going to work. They're not capable. And then here we are giving more money away. I feel bad for anybody that's stuck in these areas that's hurting. I wish we could get more support in there. And again, I was very fond of the dock thing that we had floating where we could bring it in ourselves, and that somehow got destroyed. Maybe, well, I'm sure the deep state was behind it, but I still think that was the best way to go. Don't let the bad guys, the Hamas and the Houthis, bring in support and aid, because they're going to bring in weapons too, as well as other things. So don't. Bring it in. Feed them. Take care of these people so the world can't complain. And then photo op the shit out of it. Why aren't you doing that, Israel? Love to see that happen. We could probably fly stuff to you or bring it in on a boat and somehow offload it at a port that you control. I mean, there's got to be ways to do this other than letting the deep state control it. Don't do that, right? We've got to make sure we're smarter than that. This was a powerful little story that popped out. So, internal Aurora governor and Aurora Police Department, here's some emails regarding the TDA, the Tren de Aragua. That's so hard to say that last word for me. After saying day in front of it, just does not, Daragua. I guess they probably just hopefully spin it together, but it's freaking hard to say. All said, as soon as this group kills an innocent person, all hell is going to break loose, and I would hate for us to be exposed for not sharing information with each other and or not being able to show that we have dedicated proactive units and investigating units directly impacting this problem. This is what Sergeant Jeff Longnecker said. He's part of the APD-MCU. Apparently, Aurora is hiding the Tren de Aragua activity due to the politics, the gaslighting, and lying by both the city and the media is criminal. So, here's some of the stuff he said. Said, that being said, we will seek input from anybody that has information that will help our investigation. It would be great if everyone was on the same page. As soon as this group kills an innocent person, all hell is going to break loose, and I would hate for us all to be exposed for not sharing information with each other and or not being able to show that we have dedicated proactive units and investigation units directly impacting this problem. Let's look closer at this email. For the last several months, I have attended the Thursday meeting and watched GRIT, G-R-I-T, and GVST go at each other over whether we have a Venezuelan gang problem. I have been crossing my fingers hoping that MCU would not get roped into this mess, but that ship has sailed. I don't know what the truth is, and it doesn't concern me except that it is annoying when the detectives and I have to call all these different people to get different things accomplished. What I do know is that many people in this agency have been denying the existence of TDA and saying the whole thing is blown out of proportion, while at the same time, patrols won't respond to these locations without an armored vehicle. That narrative is clearly debunked after this murder. I would be happy to go over this case with anyone that still denies this is a, where's this, the last part? This is, I guess they cut it off at the end there, that this is a major problem. Okay, there we go. Sorry, it's for some reason hard for me to read. Apparently a man has died after a shooting outside the Aurora apartment. No arrests have been made. A man who was shot in the roadway outside an Aurora apartment complex in mid-August has died of his injuries, the Aurora Police Department said Tuesday. Police said the shooting happened at around 11:30 p.m. August 18th in the roadway near the Edge at Lowry Apartments at 12th and Dallas Street. The day after the shooting, police said they found numerous shell casings outside the apartment. That's the story. So as far as I can tell, he continues, as far as I can tell, there is an HSI FBI task force, Raven, GRIT, GVST, the gang unit, and a 3-detective APD Venezuelan task force all doing lots or little with this issue, and nobody seems to be able to work with each other. My only interest in these politics is whether it assists or hinders my detective's investigation and the future investigations that are sure to come. So this is a dude that's in charge of the MCU, which is the Major Criminal Unit or something to that effect. Close to that anyway. So this is Major Crimes Unit, sorry. Close. These are the problems they're facing out there. They keep telling us don't exist because it's bad for Kamala. Georgia official believes foreign powers have attempted to interfere with battleground state elections and targeted cyber attacks. Safest election ever. They've got nothing to worry, even though CISA, the people in charge of making sure this is the safest election ever, were hacked by said criminals. Foreign hackers attempted to restrict voters in Georgia from requesting absentee ballots for the upcoming presidential election in a targeted cyber attack this month, according to state election officials. Now, this makes me think this might have been the white hats that were actually making it hard for them to request ballots when they weren't legally able to request ballots or shouldn't be able to request ballots. And then, of course, the deep state runs with that story and says, oh my God, we're being hacked. The Georgia Secretary of State office said on Wednesday its cyber defenses thwarted the attack after thousands of IP addresses from different counties flooded an election website that allows voters in the battleground state to request their absentee ballots ahead of the November 5th election with phony traffic, the CNN reported. Gabe Sterling, the chief operating officer for the Georgia State Office, which oversees elections, believes the attack came from a foreign country, explaining it had the hallmark of a foreign power or foreign entity at the behest of the foreign power. He's the chief operating officer in the Georgia State. The FBI is the ones that has maybe actual talented people that can figure this stuff out. This guy doesn't probably know what he's talking about, but whatever the case is, of course, they're blaming foreign powers. Why wouldn't they blame foreign powers? Isn't that what they do? Here's Michigan's Attorney General stumbling over her own words as she says early votes will be pre-processed, but they won't be counted until later. And she's once again suggesting they're not going to be able to get this done in one day. That's absurd, even though we don't have COVID this time. Wonder what their excuses are now. Interesting, because this is her job to make sure that they are counted in a day. Now, we know the Michigan Secretary of State's a pile of trash. She's probably on the Epstein list. Who knows?
But what we've done since that time is we are allowing for early processing of the ballots, and that means that it's not that the votes will be counted; it's that the ballots will be processed, several days early before the election, which should allow for election results to come back a little sooner. But I think it's important to note that not all communities have decided to pre-process, and in fact, the city of Warren, which is the third largest city in the state of Michigan, has elected not to pre-process. So results are not going to come in immediately after the election, but they should come in much quicker than before. We've already had 1.3 million absentee ballots that have been, received by their clerks. So I do see the results coming in faster than they have in the past as a result, but it's not going to be immediate. And we know, we can see this trend that Democrats tend to vote earlier, either during the early voting process or by absentee, whereas Republicans are more likely to vote on election day.
Okay.
But
now you understand why we must vote early. We must vote early. You will get tired of me saying this, and I guarantee you I will say it every single show leading up to November 5th. Every single show. You're going to be sick of me talking about it. I promise you. But we must vote early. They're counting on us voting day of. What are they going to do day of? If we get enough of our votes in early, they're going to be screwed. They're going to be majorly screwed. They can't do the stuff where they got the wrong paper size, the scanners aren't set right, things were printed incorrectly. Won't be able to do any of that. Vote early. However you vote. Don't care if it's mail-in. Prefer you go in person, but then they know the results, so there's a mixture there. Vote early. Do not vote day of. Please. We know they're going to cheat. This is one key piece of information that we're being given by Trump. He's like, look, I can't say it directly, but we know what they're going to do. Don't vote day of. Vote early. And if you're one of these people that just, I don't need to vote. Everybody's got this. He's winning in the polls. Vote. Because you not voting is a vote for Kamala. It is. I hate to be like that. It would have pissed me off when I would have heard it 5 years ago. Royally would have pissed me off. So I get it. I do. It matters this time more than that. It's why I'm breaking my own internal rules. I haven't called myself a Republican yet, but I'm voting early. Both those things are like weird for me, especially voting. Super weird. Teamster boss fires back at Tim Walz for knucklehead statement about union leaders. Because our members are educated. They're pissed. Tim Walz tried to make it sound like there was an education problem. What did he say? This is when he was on Jon Stewart. He says, some of these union leaders didn't show the courage they needed to by sitting out of the 2024 election cycle without backing either Harris or President Trump. Well, his response, he says, that's kind of a knucklehead statement. I show courage every day, O'Brien, 52, told Fox Business Network, using the Minnesota governor's own excuse when confronted with his past misstatements. It's disrespectful to our members and the process. He's talking like an educator. Like he's in a classroom teaching a lesson. The lesson that needs to be taught is that our members don't need to be educated. Our members are educated. That's the problem with the Democratic Party right now, is that they're looking down on our members. This is the Teamsters. That's a big, bold statement from a huge union that was always Democrat. Always. Except now. Yeah, we're doing a lot more than most of us realize. This dude's getting a huge credit. This is Kinzinger, Adam Kinzinger. So Adam Kinzinger is doing something. For those of you that don't know shooting, there's a few problems with what's happening right here. I don't know if he's got ear protection. It seems to, because this would just deafen him. He doesn't have a suppressor on there. How'd that happen? There it is. So some of the problems we've got. He's not wearing his eye protection. It's actually up here on his head. That should always be on your eyes, especially when you're shooting steel targets at 20 to 30 feet tops. Shooting steel targets, and for those of you that don't know anything about guns, when you hit steel with a bullet, the bullet fragments, it breaks, and it ricochets. Now, hopefully he's shooting at a slight angle, and what actually happened, by the way, at this particular event is the individual taking the picture, the press, yeah, there was a bounce back that hit him in the arm. He got shot by Kinzinger. Now, Kinzinger would say, he didn't get shot by me. It was a reflection. It was it redirected off the steel plate and then bounced back and hit him. Yeah? Who was the one that pulled the trigger and shot the bullet? Kinzinger. It was your fault, Kinzinger. That's one of the things that goes with shooting. You must use smartness when shooting. You must make sure whatever you're pointing your barrel at is okay to disintegrate, because that's what's going to happen. And if you're shooting targets, especially steel targets, one, you don't shoot them at this range with a scoped rifle. This is pistol range, folks. You should be popping those with a pistol at best, and have his eye protection on, and make sure you get ear protection. Tannerite, too. I didn't catch that because I don't know. I'm not familiar with tannerite. It's an explosive. They've got tannerite sitting on the table right in front of them, which means this ricochet could have hit the tannerite. Boom! Big ol' explosion. Would have nuked these dudes. It would have effed them up badly. And with all the stuff that's down here, the metal parts, metal guns, and everything else on these tables. So here's Kinzinger trying to look like he's, Mr. Awesome. So that's there. And then I guess his stance sucks. I probably wouldn't have caught that, but I think it should be more balanced. He seems very kind of on his back foot. So that's kind of stupid. Again, using a scope at this range is ridiculous. And let's see, no backstop behind these targets. Right, so whatever's behind them is at risk. Now, it does look like there's possibly a berm over here. Maybe. Kind of looks like it. Whatever. But yeah, he's being stupid all over the place. This is not what you do when you're a gun owner, when you're shooting. Like, this is all the wrong things to do. Big fail. And the dude taking the picture got shot by Kinzinger, which was fine. It worked for Cheney. Think about it. So who cares? You can shoot a dude in the face. Your best friend shot him in the face. It's like, hey, I thought he had an ugly face. Anyway, doesn't matter. Instagram is apparently blocking people, of course. So they're calling it election interference. They said, we suspended your account, Trump Unity. And they've got 100 days to appeal. So Richard Grinnell was sharing this. Not a big surprise. This is the official Trump Unity Tour Instagram account. I don't know if that's controlled by Trump, but I'm not even remotely surprised. Here's another example. This is probably my favorite. So this is probably TikTok. I don't know if this is Telegram or TikTok. I don't know who's getting called out on this one. But profile banner. Violating our rules against graphic violence or adult content in profile images. It's a picture of Trump with blood on his cheek and the American flag behind him. This is apparently the graphic violence they're speaking of. So they took down at MAGA B23, whoever this chick is, and whatever the hell platform it is. Now, I will say TikTok is weird. TikTok apparently hates my ass. I did not. It didn't dawn on me. It dawned on me like it was weird. Like I was doing the shorts for my video, this channel, and I didn't get a lot of traction on it. It was kind of strange. But I was doing shorts. Like I was paying money to a company to help me do this, and we were putting these shorts out. And I created a TikTok account. I tried to create an Instagram account. They wouldn't. They wanted a phone number, and I wasn't going to give them one. So I didn't go there. I don't have Facebook. Don't care about that. But I was posting it there. I was posting it YouTube. I was posting it. Where else did I put it? I feel like I was, Twitter, X, like I was putting it on those things. I was putting it on Gab. I was putting it, if I could, if it was big enough. And then I was putting it on, I feel like I got one other, Getter, I think it is, right? So I was putting it on all those places. TikTok. First day I put a video out, I got 47,000 views, like first day. I was like, damn, nice. Like that was pretty cool. Got a lot of traction, did really well. And then I got strike after strike because I started to wonder why my numbers were sucked, and I finally started digging into it. Dude, I had 15 videos or more that got strikes. First off, I was surprised I hadn't lost my account, but I was wondering why only like 100 people or 7 people or 50 people, like it would vary, but it was always like some ridiculously small number of people were watching them. I'm like, whatever. TikTok hates me. Yeah, they majorly hated me. And then I had a friend. She was telling me she was posting stuff. She was trying to practice her editing stuff and posting videos on TikTok of some of my content, and they were immediately banning that. So again, it's TikTok hates my ass. I guess I'm doing something right, but it's just funny. I'm like, how do you even know me? So yeah, apparently I'm really good at getting on the radar of people that I don't want to be on the radar for, I guess. Let's do this first. I keep skipping it because I know I didn't put it in here and I need to. DRS Likes Gold.com. Folks, our economy is in a weird place. I don't want us to consider sticking around and not doing something about this. Prices of silver and gold have been moving a lot lately. Let's see where we're at with the actual prices. Oops. Damn, learn how to... I can't type anymore. There's something weird, like my left and right hand, it's weird. I think as this transition's occurring, my left and right brain, I don't know what it is, but typing has become significantly more difficult for me as time progresses. I don't know what it is. I've made excuses in my own mind. I'm like, I don't think that's it anymore. I literally just don't think I can type. Like I'm screwing letters up. I'm putting the wrong fingers hitting the buttons. Anyway, I'm fucking retarded. I think that's what it is. Pretty sure. Gold is up right now. It's actually up 19 cents, which is quite a bit. So 27.35, not quite to its high. Its high was 27.43. It's almost there again. Silver's down a teeny bit. It was down a little bit yesterday. Its high was 34.36, which is a lot, considering literally it was 23 back in February, late February. It's up to 33.69 right now. It went up $10. It was 23. It went up $10. Think about that growth. It's almost 50%. In less than a year. Now, one, that indicates a huge problem with our economy. It indicates high inflation. It also indicates, we got a problem. I think I said that already, but sort of worth repeating a second time. DRSLikesGold.com. DRSLikesGold.com. They've actually got a cool silver calculator that I keep forgetting to bring up. I forgot to put the commercial in here to begin with, so I'm failing bigly today. But one of the things that we've come to find, and they put it in here at least, so you don't necessarily have to use a silver calculator. It's probably better just to come here. But whatever's in your 401k, take 10% of that. That's how much free silver you're possibly eligible for. And I'm just saying possibly only in that you just need to fill out the information. And if you literally have that much in your 401k and you want to move it over tax-free and penalty-free so you can get out of their system and stop letting the deep state spend your money how they want to, and you can actually take the deep state's money, your money really, but their federal notes, and transition them into precious metals, and you literally physically own the metals. They're put in a trust, because if they weren't put in a trust, it would be sent straight to you, which is the same thing as cashing out. So that's why you can do it tax-free, penalty-free, because you're not cashing out. If you cash out, you're going to get raped. Don't do that. Get the precious metals first. Get as many of the precious metals, even after the fees and all the stuff. There's some transaction fees and stuff that happen. It's not cheap, unfortunately, but getting out of their system and putting it into something that's growing and growing at a reasonably high rate right now. And some are saying there's some multipliers built in that we just don't see yet. Again, I can't make promises. Don't know when things are going to happen, but we know they're going to try to blame Trump, and we know things are coming down. They've been pumping money into this bubble for a long time. A lot longer than bubbles are supposed to last. A lot longer. And we're in a bad place. So 10% of whatever you've got in your 401k or IRA, on top of transitioning that, and on top of any fees and stuff you're going to pay, you're actually going to get 10% free silver as sort of a payment back to you. 10% of whatever it is. Got $1 million? That's $100,000 of silver. Yeah, that's a lot of silver. And silver has grown it's almost gone up 50% this year, and it's far from done. That's almost the best part of this entire deal. 10% going straight to free silver. Free silver. You're going to get a mixture of gold and silver. I think you can help define some of that. Maybe even platinum if you want. And platinum's up right now, too. Platinum's actually doing really well. Its high was 1051. It's at 1033 right now. Yeah, platinum's doing really well. So this is something to consider, and getting out of their system something also to consider, and something that's very smart at this point. Get out of their system. Don't let them take you down with it, because their system's crumbling. It's crumbling. It's going to be biblical, as we've seen in that movie, whatever movie that was, right? This is a very strange time in our history. I know it's unsure. I know it's a little scary, because it goes against everything that we've been told. But remember, everything we've been told Doesn't seem to be true, does it? No. Why listen to them? You're going to end up broke if you keep listening to them. They're going to the World Economic Forum. They're part of Klaus Schwab. Why listen to them? They want you to eat bugs. When you have wealth, you have freedom. You have the ability to take care of yourself. You don't need them. Get out of their system. Get into something that's doing super well. It and Bitcoin are the only two assets right now are positive when you take inflation into account. The only two assets. Mark Moss did a great video on it. One of these days I'll play it again if I can find it. Go to drslikesgold.com. 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 Get out of their system, folks. Seriously, while you can. Because once it's too late, it's going to suck. And you're going to be bummed. And you're going to be like, damn, I should have done it. Yeah, you should have. My friends at Goldco can help it be as quick as possible, too. They've got a lot of suppliers. They've got the ability to e-sign. They've got all sorts of great stuff. And they'll answer all your questions. They have the best customer service out there. That's why they're 5-star rated. That's why they're as good as they are. They are amazing. That's why I partnered with them. They are the best in the business, unquestionably. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system, folks, before they get out of you. Hundreds of thousands of migrants are being held in southern Mexico until U.S. Election Day and are eager to rush the border. I think this is an interesting story because if Trump wins, I'm very doubtful that the Mexican president is going to allow these people through. Right now, the Mexican government's holding them back. Some agreement that's had. That's awesome. I don't care who it helps. That's awesome. We just need to keep these people away. If Trump wins, very doubtful he's going to open up that border. Because he's going to come out and publicly say, because Trump's in charge, I know exactly what's going to happen once he gets there, and there's no reason to go ahead and stop this. We're going to keep these people out. We understand what's up. We want to work with Trump. We want to work with this new government that's coming in, and we don't want to start it off on the wrong foot. So Mexico will do the right thing. So right now, we're blocking people. Keep that in mind. And it's not Kamala Harris that's worked this deal out. It's the fear of Trump that's causing this to happen. Tennessee Attorney General has exposed federal release of illegal immigrants convicted of dangerous crimes. They're actually looking into this. Jonathan Skrmetti? Really? What a poor individual name to have. Today he announced that following a successful lawsuit by Tennessee Attorney General's office, United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement was forced to produce previously undisclosed information about the agency's release of thousands of detained migrants, including dangerous convicted criminals. The hundreds of pages of documents obtained shed light on federal authorities' since abandoned plan to transport potentially thousands of single adult immigration detainees in Tennessee. Records show that ICE's plan to release these migrants into the state was derailed by pushback from Tennessee's governor and from U.S. senators and ultimately stopped through successful litigation by the Tennessee Attorney General's office and other states. The information further revealed that ICE abandoned its failed plan for the mass release of detainees into Tennessee. The agency nonetheless released over 7,000 detainees directly from its Louisiana facility at the time, including more than 30 who were assigned ICE's highest security threats level. Released detainees had criminal records, including homicide, sexual assault, aggravated assault with a weapon, armed robbery, kidnapping, smuggling aliens, drug trafficking, burglary, and fraud. They had these on their records. There I am hitting the table. They had these on the record. And they still released them into the public. They still released super criminals into the public. This is Kamala Harris. This is what she wants to do. It's not just for the votes. The deep state wants the criminals to control it. It's going to be part of that whole democracy thing that they're very fond of. It's what we're trying to stop. Ottawa is going to slash the number of new permanent residents welcomed to the country by 21% to 395,000 next year, amid growing sentiment among Canadians that there's too much immigration. See, Canada's getting pissed too. Hey, Canada's got a really small population. It's been 10 years, so I don't know what it is right now. It's been about 10 years. I was directly involved with Canadian populations and stuff like that. They had, I think, roughly around 35 million people in the country. Yeah, 35 million. Versus our 330 million or whatever at the time. So, yeah, hardly anybody in Canada. So that's where socialized medicine and all that crap works really good when there's not that many people. When there's a crap ton of people, like a bunch of illegal aliens, they can't afford it anymore. Healthcare is one of the worst things out there right now. First off, we're sick because all the crap they put in our foods, all the crap they put in the air, all the crap they put everywhere. So we're sick because of that. Then we've got a whole medicine industry that's set up around sickness. They don't want you healthy. They want you sick. So then you've got to get pills, and you need to get those pills every month. And they just make a crap ton of money off you. So if they can keep you sick and then freak you out and cause you to go to the doctor all the time, they're making gobs of money. So healthcare is expensive. Big time. AG Liz Muriel sues DHS over illegal Chinese national in Louisiana. It's kind of a weird story. There's this individual that they let in. It's legally entered the country, found in Louisiana with a rare, aggressive, and drug-resistant form of tuberculosis. Did I mention they're from China? Isn't that interesting? A rare, aggressive, and drug-resistant form of tuberculosis. I don't know if you guys heard the story. It's a rumor that was floating around. I want to say Tori Says might have been the one that shared it even. And they're talking about how the first, I think this is one of those, anyway, I don't want to get into that. The first pandemic was fake. They were saying whatever the drug was, whatever the sickness was, I should say, was fake. It was just meant to get a lot of people to take the drug. And that was what it was all about. Try to lock down, scare everybody. But it wasn't really, wasn't that bad, which we found out to be the case. They said the second one, though, will be real. So I'm wondering if this is it. If this is their attempt to spread. And there's probably other people that have this exact same version of tuberculosis coming from China and any other place. Anybody that was with these individuals as they were traveling would have gotten sick, most likely. Think about that. This is what they're trying to do, folks. They wanted a pandemic to happen before the election. Based off the fact there isn't one as of now, I would say they likely failed. But they were trying, and still trying for that matter. Rep. Adam Schiff's office told Politico he doesn't have records of his earmarks from the time he entered Congress in 2001 until 2007. Well, below is a snapshot of publicly available data on for-profit earmarks and corresponding campaign contributions from 2003 to 2020. Now, Smith's Detections, Chemical Weapons Sensors, and Phasebridge Inc., two of these people, well, they donated $8,500 to Adam Schiff. They were earmarked $9 million in contracts. Eureka Aerospace for Military Technology, they were earmarked $1 million. They gave $34,000 to Adam Schiff. Tanner Research Inc. for detecting IEDs, improvised explosive devices, they had a $1 million earmark. They gave $15,000 to Adam Schiff. Orbit's Lightwave Inc. for an ultra-stable coherent laser project, $800,000 was earmarked to them. They gave $3,700 to Adam Schiff. Super Protonic for solid acid fuel cell research, they got just shy of $500,000 earmarked. They gave $1,500 to Adam Schiff. You see the way the game's played, folks? You see the corruption right in front of us? Tucker Carlson talking about Elon Musk and the truth that we are allowed to speak on his platform. He says it's the only platform you can speak truth. I guess that bums because, Truth Social, Trump's platform, and it's his platform. And I think Trump just kind of likes that. Like, no matter what, he's got a place he can put stuff out. But X has definitely opened up the gateways. And Musk is given credit where credit's due. And that's Elon Musk. Thank you, brother. Even though I'm sure you don't watch my channel. But thank you nonetheless for doing what you've done. You've put yourself out there. And you've got a lot to lose and a lot exposed on this whole thing. And certainly tied up with Tesla and with SpaceX and obviously Starlink. A lot going on, but they can't exactly shut you up, can they? You're involved in too much stuff. Musk is a brilliant man, and I'm very, very proud to be working this fight with him.
Donald Trump's victory will be a triumph of the human spirit. It will be a triumph of Americans over the machine that seeks to oppress them. It'll be a middle finger wagging in the face of the worst people in the English-speaking world who are leaders. It will be a moral victory the size of which I never thought I would live to see. And it's essential. It is so important that that happens for a couple of reasons, and here's what they are. The first is to dissolve for all time, for the world to see, the primary lie about Donald Trump, which is that only freaks and misfits like him. That's a lie. And they've been telling that lie since the second he came down that escalator 9 years ago. If you like that, there's something wrong with you. You're the only person you know who likes that. You're a freak. Be ashamed. Do not talk about Donald Trump in public. Don't wear his dangerous little red hat. And if you're in the media, how dare you speak to him? And that was a lie from day one. It was a big lie. It was January 6th is an insurrection. What? It's the kind of lie that they tell relentlessly. They punish anyone who contradicts the lie because it is so preposterous it can only be upheld through force. And in the last 3 months, we have seen that lie dissolve like the Wicked Witch of the West under a bucket of water. Look around. Is this a room full of freaks and misfits? No, it's not. This is a room full of people who love their country enough to obey its laws, who sincerely believe in its founding precepts, who pay their taxes, who go to work. The ever-shrinking percentage of Americans who work a 40-hour week, who expect nothing from the system, and who have given their lives for the system, who are born in this country and plan to die here. And they're the most mistreated group in this nation, and they're also the biggest group in this nation. They're not some weird subculture of MAGA. They're America itself. And the only people who are denying that are the freaks and the misfits, who it turns out are themselves a tiny, bizarre minority, a cult, who have controlled the rest of us through fear and aggression. And that has ended. And it has ended thanks to the heroic stand that a couple of individuals have taken, first among them Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who single-handedly saved the First Amendment to the Constitution, which, let me remind you, is not just a feature of America, it's the basis of America. It's the First Amendment for a reason. It's what separates the free from the enslaved. Slaves are not allowed to say what they think. Free men have God-given right to do so and will. And this is the only country on earth in which that is guaranteed. And without Elon Musk, it wouldn't be, because he stands alone as the owner of a media platform that is still open. There's only one, and it's X. It's foreign-born Elon Musk. And then for him to come out, and by the way, just for the record, I've taken not $1 from Elon Musk, okay? It's not a paid advertisement, it's just an observation. And this is heartfelt gratitude. And when you see the richest man on planet Earth stand up there in a t-shirt and start jumping around on stage, he's also one of the biggest federal contractors. People say, oh, he's got FU money. No, it's just the opposite. There is no such thing as FU money. The more money you have, the more vested you are. There's only FU poverty, actually, is the truth. And Elon Musk has more to lose than any living American by taking the position that he did, and he did it anyway. And so what's the message? If the person who's created the most, not just piles of cash, he's not Larry Fink, he's not worshiping money like our finance class, he's building things. And if that guy is for Donald Trump, and not only not ashamed of it, he's jumping around in a t-shirt, I can see his belly button, he's so excited, then maybe I'm not alone. Maybe I'm not the freak. Maybe what you're really watching is the tyranny of MSNBC, a channel with virtually no viewers, a channel on which almost every single person has a personal life so grotesquely weird, if you knew the details, you'd call for their arrest.
Yeah, and that is where we're at. And I think Tucker said it beautifully, right? I mean, isn't that exactly what we're fighting and exactly what we've been talking about? I think so. Department of Justice warns Elon Musk's PAC that he did some sort of $1 million giveaway. He said it might be illegal. Might be illegal. First off, it's not really, I think, their job to typically look into that. I think that's said is that the SEC or the Election Securities Commission or what? I don't know, whatever the hell it is. They're going to look into it, of course, because they got to go after Elon Musk. Just one more thing, one more of the myriad of things that are happening. Michigan's AG says their elections are so safe, so secure, and so accurate, and then says Elon brought Twitter for the sole purpose of disseminating misinformation and disinformation. This woman is tasked with prosecuting election fraud in Michigan. So she's obviously making a bit of an argument for that. I don't think I want to play any more of her, and we've got to save a little time at this point. RFK Jr., I got a couple things from him. This was pretty good because he's talking about Bill Gates, and I think it's worth the time. I'm going to play it a little bit faster, too. Obviously, it's going to be a long show today, but whatever it is, we're getting up to the elections. I hope you guys forgive me. I know a lot of you guys that reach out to me are like, Dan, you could do 2 hours. I'd keep watching. Love that. For those of you that watch, it's fantastic. I feel like my numbers have gone down a little bit, but like the core group of you guys continues to stay there. So whatever the case is, just trying to do the best I can, and thank you guys that like me and enjoy it and say you could talk forever. I'd keep listening. I love you guys. I just thank you. And I had a bunch of people reach out to me that said, like, they actually felt bad when I was gone. They're like, dude, I can't even realize how much I missed your show, which is just like, oh, it's just beautiful. Like, I don't get the feedback, and I don't like pats on the back. I feel awkward when people say nice shit to me, so I don't even know I don't know how we resolve this, but I just go by the numbers the best I can. But it meant a lot. You guys really are awesome, and you treat me very well, and I love you guys, and thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. And I do look forward to the day when it's easier to go out and do public events and actually round up enough people to make it worthwhile to show up someplace rather than just have like 4 people show up and be like, yeah, this trip cost me $2,000 and 4 of you showed up. Thanks. That's hard to kind of figure out how to, expense that one. You know what I mean? But anyway, RFK Jr., Bill Gates, bad guy. Check it out.
I was driving down here today from Atlanta, and I read an article from the New York Times that Bill Gates had just donated $50 million to Kamala Harris's campaign. And the article said that it was the first donation that he's made in 20 years. That he stayed out of politics, that he's been bipartisan. It was a dark money donation. He didn't intend for it to be public. He routed the donation through a 501c4, which was an organization that was set up to conceal large money donations to the Harris campaign. Now, he said, when the Times asked him, he said he had donated zero in the 2020 campaign when President Biden was running against President Trump. And he said this campaign is different than any other. And so he felt the need to do this. Now, do you think Bill Gates made that donation out of a patriotic impulse? Do you think he made it out of a humanitarian impulse? Do you think he made it because he wants global health? Or because he wants to make America healthy again? Well, there was something else, another article about Bill Gates that came out today that said he's just been indicted. He's been indicted in the Netherlands for lying to the public about the COVID vaccine. And he's going to have to go to trial. Do you think that he wants to go to trial here in the United States of America? You think maybe that's one of the reasons he chose to give $50 million to Kamala Harris?
That's my guess. I think he's 100% right. I think that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, we got a big problem. I think this is, that was him playing the same thing we just talked or heard. So again, we've got all the deep state dark forces working against us. All the people that we used to think were actually good people, not. And we see it now. That's all we can do, right? All we can do is expose and show and let people sort of come to their own realizations. Now, a lot of us are fearful that they're not going to wake up fast enough. I actually think we're getting some numbers. Now, again, I live in a place that's, moderately Republican in my county, but my state. So I see a lot of crazy stuff around here. It was also weird, too, going to Charlotte, by the way, when I was out there, because I'm not used to seeing, billboards for Kamala. Because I don't think she's really campaigning in this state that much. She's fundraising here because there's a crap ton of money, but she's not campaigning per se. So I don't see a lot of billboards, especially in my county, nor for Trump for that matter. Neither of them are really spending money here. So again, it's kind of funny because money is spent where it needs to be. North Carolina, boom, billboard Kamala, boom, next billboard Trump, next billboard Kamala, next billboard Trump. I was like, damn, not used to seeing that. So again, strange stuff. House Speaker Mike Johnson, there's no audio, that'd be fun. On Wednesday, he shared a website on which Americans can check whether their name has been used for any political donations without their permission amidst scrutiny of the Democratic fundraising platform, Act Blue. Can't wait to see this site taken down. So again, Act Blue platform is investigating whether 4 foreign adversaries, Iran, Russia, Venezuela, and China, have funneled money into Democratic Party campaigns in 2024. Just the News is reporting this. Lawmakers specifically demanded any suspicious activity reports related to monies passing through Act Blue that were filed by U.S. financial institutions as part of their money laundering monitoring activities. It has been long suspected that leading online Democratic Party fundraising platform may be used in a fraudulent manner, Johnson said. So we'll see. Where's the name of the site? I thought he gave it somewhere in here, but it's not. It's not here. I'm not finding it. You guys can look it up. Do a search for Act Blue. What are they doing this? Because it's through Johnson. Should have a website. Yeah, so Act Blue platform investigating. I don't know, just Act Blue investigation, something like that. You'll probably find it. Most likely it's going to be through Speaker Johnson's X account, so maybe even go there. Apologize. I thought I actually had the link on here. I thought he shared it. That's unfortunate. Ah, snap. I got to refresh this. They always do this to New York Post, by the way. It's only New York Post that I have this memory issue. I've got I got a crap ton of memory on this. I think I got, what was it? It's like 500 gigs or something in RAM. Like this box is insane. I put some money into this box. It was worth it. It's a badass computer. No problem with RAM. I've also got plenty of video RAM. No chance. So it's some weird thing that's happening with New York Post. House Judiciary Panel subpoenas HHS for records on taxpayers' subsidized housing for migrants. It's a Republican-led committee, of course. They said since July 2024, we've sought information about ORR's coordination with the State Department, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Department of Homeland Security to use taxpayer dollars to pay for housing assistance for aliens in the country. Jordan's looking into this. More investigations. We'll see where that actually gets us. Full-blown scandal. Biden-Harris admin is hiding documents to justify fossil fuel crackdowns. This is what the Oversight Committee has found. So you guys remember that blonde chick with the short hair, the dykey-looking one? I'm just saying that to be a dick. Totally. She's probably not gay, but I'm just saying, I'm just being a dick intentionally. Yeah, that's for anybody here that's like, Dan, really? Did you have to? And I'm like, yeah, no, it felt good. It felt really good, actually. Our name's Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. Granholmy. So on Wednesday, we found out that, they were stopping drilling so they could actually look into the environmental and economic impacts of what the drilling is doing for us. So we're going to stop all drilling until we finish this investigation. This investigation should be done sometime in 2025. So when it's done, then we'll tell you, and then we'll start drilling again. Don't worry. Well, funny thing is, we're finding out, and this is the Congress guy, he's finding this out. It seems like they were already done with that investigation a while ago. Yeah, just kind of keeping things on the down low. We already finished the investigation. We know it's not a problem. We're going to go ahead and lock down drilling until 2025 anyway. Jennifer Dyke Granholm said. I don't know. I'm alleging she's a dyke. I don't know for sure. I have never seen her dyke out with anyone. I've never seen her stop any large body of water either, because either of those would actually, I guess, work. Or as Robin Williams said, I think a woman in uncomfortable shoes, if I remember correctly. Anyways, whatever the case was. Yeah, they already knew. They knew already, and they're still holding back drilling. Because why? Because they're dicks. Or vaginas. It's Granholm. I don't know. I mean, got to be fair. Ben Carson. Talking about how they're depressing the value of family and stuff. He was good. He's really soft-spoken, and we had audio issues at the place we were at. Even Trump was hard to hear. It was kind of a bummer. It was a huge bummer, actually. A giant bummer. Yeah, that'd be fair. Ben Carson was very somber, and I love the dude, so it doesn't matter. But he's not an energetic speaker, and his voice was the quietest of everybody, so it was tough. And you'll see, this is his speaking manner. Again, love Ben Carson. Ben, if for some reason you're watching this, which I doubt you do, yeah, I don't mean any disrespect at all, sir. You're just a very quiet speaker. You're nothing like, me. I just get all crazy for no reason. You just, problems. You don't have that problem, apparently. Good for you. All said. Ben Carson, here's what they're doing to us.
On January the 10th, 1963, read into the congressional record of our country, Congressman Herlong, the 45 goals of communism in America. And they were such things as gaining control of the public school system and the teacher union so you could indoctrinate the kids, gaining control of the news media and Hollywood so that you could change the culture of America, depressing the value of the family, removing God from the public sector, changing the churches so that instead of the real gospel, you had the social gospel, making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy. All of these things are going on in our society today. There have always been those who have wanted to change who we are. But I got to tell you, even though they say awful things about our country, they say we're systemically racist, we treat people inappropriately. If we were all that bad, why are all these people trying to get in here?
You can't beat that point, right? You can't beat that point at all. So yeah, why are they trying to get into this country? Yeah, strange times. There was something I was going to say and just disappeared. So sometimes there's just so many things I shouldn't say. President Trump to join Tucker Carlson live in Arizona for an event to benefit hurricane victims. I'll be honest, it feels a little strange to have a hurricane benefit in Arizona because it's like a zillion miles from the area of the hurricane. But it's a battleground state. Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. So it's like, while I'm in Arizona, I'm going to do this really awesome thing for North Carolina. Trump is a master. Oh, master. Who is the master? Donald Trump, man. Not show enough. Certainly not show enough. It's Donald Trump. And if any of you guys get that reference, I love you guys. It's like, wasn't that one of the best movies ever? Oh, so good. The Last Dragon. The Last Dragon. Leroy. Good stuff. Such good stuff. That was such a good movie. I'm going to probably have to watch that soon. Again, I own it. Don't worry. Not a problem. Trump opened to reparations fund for victims of crimes committed by illegals. That'd be fun to actually do live, by the way. Just stream that movie with you guys. Shit. Like, what was that? Where they had the two robots in the front seat? You guys remember that? Like movie 3000 or whatever the hell it was? I used to watch some crazy-ass sci-fi movies and stuff. That was good times back in the day. That might be fun. I don't know. The Last Dragon, if I was ever to play a movie, that might actually be one of the movies I'd play. I know there's some really cool ones that are actually more beneficial, but that's just a good damn movie. I don't know. We'd have to see. You guys should check it out, though. The Last Dragon. So good. Trump opened to, and it's one actually from a martial arts standpoint, by the way. It's the techniques in there and stuff are pretty solid, believe it or not. I've had some people kind of back that up with me. So good stuff. Anyway, Trump opens to reparations fund for victims of crimes committed by illegals. This is a neat idea. He's done stuff like this before. One of the things he's talking about doing when he gets in is creating a fund, maybe even a give, send, go. That would be kind of a good way to do it, even as president, right? Like, I don't know if the federal government needs to pay for this, but here's what we can do. Here's a give, send, go, or give, go fund me, go F me, as I always say, but I think give, send, go is better. Or even others, maybe. But let's use these guys. Let's create a fund. Let's get a bunch of you guys to donate, and I'll come on stage and mention it to you and see. And whoever wants to help helps. And that's how you can help your neighbors, right? And you could be 12 states away, but still help your neighbor. And it's a neat way for us to feel like we're directly impacting, rather than maybe giving money to like Red Cross, where, you know, like 80, 90% of it goes to administration fees, or giving it to somebody else, and then like 10% actually goes to the problem. Or say American Cancer Society, that probably spends zero of it actually trying to, I'm sure they spend a tiny amount. Sorry. They legally have to, I think. But spending very little of that money to actually stop cancer. Why? Why, would you ask? Because if there were no cancer, American Cancer Society would instantly have no money. Instantly. They need cancer. It's like the war on drugs. They need drugs, otherwise their budget dries up. This is how we've gotten destroyed. We've had wars on everything. The war on children, right? Like, yeah, and children are still getting jacked. I don't think there's actually a war on children yet, but wait, that's coming. So, yeah, Trump's going to try to help out. Florida AG is suing the Department of Justice over blocking its investigation into the Trump assassination attempt. Yeah, Department of Justice doesn't want Florida to look into it. One, because they'll give harsher crime to the punishment to the individual, which is probably a state actor. Two, they don't want to look stupid, which they do constantly, but then it would be proven that they look stupid. It wouldn't just look stupid, they'd be proven stupid. So they don't want to let the Florida state people look into this. Again, this is just the game we're playing, guys. President Donald Trump said Thursday that if elected to a second term in November, he would immediately fire special counsel Jack Smith, who brought 2 federal indictments against him. Conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt asked Trump if he plans to pardon himself or fire Smith on the day he would take the oath of office. And quote, "It's so easy. I would fire him within 2 seconds," said Trump, who added that he got immunity at the Supreme Court and called Smith a crooked person. He also said he doesn't think Democrats, if they retake the House majority, would impeach him if he fires Smith from the Department of Justice. I wonder if he's calling that out, like that's actually going to happen. That's going to be a bummer. But if that's the case, I think Johnson did what Johnson had to do. Johnson stopped them from what they've been doing. I'll forever back Johnson. I'm sorry. He may not have, I don't know. Many people can say whatever they want, that other people would be better at this. I just think Johnson's done a damn good job, considering that he's herding cats. And he's actually been pretty impressive. So whatever. I hope to God we don't lose the House. I feel like we should be cleaning up everywhere. But I think he's saying no matter what. He's like, I don't care. If they can impeach me, F them. But he's actually saying, I don't think they would, though. So he'll say, he said firing him as a special counsel potentially could end the federal government's prosecution, or persecution, I should say, of Trump, while Smith has appealed the ruling in Florida dismissing the classified documents case against the former president. The special counsel is still pursuing the election interference case against Trump in Washington. So, yeah, it's NBC putting this out. So maybe that's why there's the, even if he doesn't win. I just can't believe we don't win, keep the House. Oh, just baffle me. That'll baffle me. Y'all gotta vote. Get out and vote. Get out and vote early. There's no damn way we lose the House. I think we're going to pick up the Senate, too. I really do. I'm prepared that we're going to totally lose and we're going to have to go out on our streets or whatever, or start nailing my front door shut or something so they can't drive a tank through it. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. We'll figure it out. But God, I hope we're heading where I think. That's what I think, right? Prepare for the worst, which we've been doing. Hope for the best. Focus on the best, right? That's all I can do. President Trump says he would consider pardoning Hunter Biden. Think about that. That's cool, I think. I don't think Hunter's like a bad dude. I think Hunter's a druggie. An idiot. Well, he's a smart idiot, maybe. I don't know, but he's related to Joe, so he can't be that smart. I mean, he's apparently the smartest guy Joe knows, so, okay, smarter than Joe, but what's that actually saying? I mean, Joe's an idiot, so, all right, what are you, like, idiot plus? Like, just a step above idiot? I don't even know what that word would be. Just dumb? I don't even know the right technical word. I think idiot or moron, I don't know. One of those has an actual, like, definitions, like someone with an IQ below 40 or something weird like that. I don't know exactly what it is. Fact check me, that's cool. Moron. I don't know. It's funny. Some of these words actually have technical terms. That's what's kind of funny about it. But yeah, anyway, he's talking about it. And I think, yeah, like him possibly going after Hillary, that'd be more worthwhile. Hunter's, yeah, he's actually, I almost feel bad for him because his dad's such a douchehole and he's probably been molested his whole life. And right, like, there's part of me that actually feels bad for Hunter. I don't think he's necessarily a bad dude. I think he's got a really effed up family. Like I said, I've known somebody in one of these families. And she was actually a wonderful soul, but unfortunately very, very damaged. Very damaged. And yeah, it's brutal. I'll tell you what, they want to make us sick. You know, they got tuberculosis running around now, which I believe is a viral also. One thing that's funny about viral sicknesses is we have a medicine. This pisses me off. I was talking to myself about this earlier before I went on show. And I'm like, holy crap, when I grew up, it bugs the crap out of me that if you got a bacterial infection or an infection, well, you take an antibiotic, it goes away. Yay, that's so good. I don't have to lose my leg. But if you had the flu, drink a lot of water, get a lot of rest, take some NyQuil. Yeah, it's not going to make you better, but it'll help with your nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughy, achy, stuffy head fever, and you might be able to rest medicine. Great. Tastes like hell, but great. What? You telling me there's been a cure this whole time? Yep. Whole time. There's been antiviral medications. Why haven't we ever had them before? Think about that. Think about it. Think about all the flus you've had where you literally could have taken something and helped kick it in a matter of 1 or 2 days versus struggling out for a week or two. Think about that. Think about from the standpoint of economy. How many less days of work loss would have occurred because we had something antiviral that we were allowed to take? Well, guess what? You can now. And they may be doing crazy stuff with all these sicknesses. Well, don't worry about it. Here's the reason. Obviously, don't roll your sleeve up. You know that. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know. and have something that will protect you. We know we have the medicine now. We've got a thing called HCQ. We've got a thing called ivermectin. This is all the doctors are telling us. You get a prescription through these people too, by the way. TWC.health/OTF. TWC, the wellness company. Dr. Drew Pinsky, Dr. McCullough, and there's another gentleman that I always forget or don't even know. It's not even I forget. I don't even know who the hell it is. It's another dude. Yeah, I read it once. Yeah, so I forgot from that standpoint. Sort of true. TWC.health/OTF. These guys, one, have supplements. If you're worried about the spike proteins, they have the spike support formula, literally designed to bind to where that cleavage site is. I think that's where it is, but it binds specifically to the spike, which has that cleavage site. Binds specifically to it. Once it binds to it, the molecule is now stable. This is one thing people don't understand. It's ions, basically, right? So sodium chloride, salt, which is salt, table salt, sodium chloride. Sodium breaks into a +1, or plus, sorry, yeah, it's +1 actually, +1 ion. And chlorine, breaks into a -1 ion. And they float around. They stay close to each other, but they're actually not joined. They're ionic. They're floating around in solution. That's what happens with this. There's this ionic thing that they make, the spike support formula, that literally looks for that spike cell and goes, oh, you're just what I've been looking for. Bleep, let's get married. And the spike cell's like, cool, you're totally hot, man. And bam. And then what happens is it pulls it out of your system. It goes to your kidneys or your liver. Ultimately, you pee it out. But it's bonded, it's taken. So you remove the spike. It goes away. That's how that works. And the med kits. My favorite's the Contagion. They've got a medical, they've got a first aid. You should look at the kits, especially if you have kids. First aid kit's amazing. They have a travel emergency kit. It's got all sorts of amazing stuff in it. Antibiotics, wrappings. It's got medicines of all sorts of different stuff to protect you. A lot of different antibiotics and stuff like that. Very good stuff. They're amazing, these kits. They've also got the ability to replenish these kits. So if you've had it for only like 2 years or within 2 years, and say you've had a bout of flu come through your house, everybody takes it, you run out, go to the replenishment. It's cheaper. And they'll fill it up so long as within 2 years. I think then you got to get the prescription updated. So there's a factor that goes into it. It's probably part of the cost too, so don't panic when you see it. But it has got the things in it that you need and want. And what I'm talking about is this. It's got 25 tablets of ivermectin, 20 tablets hydroxychloroquine, 12 tablets the generic Z-Pack. It's hard to say. Azithromycin. Oh, if you say it like that, it's easier. I was trying to add an R in there. Anyway, Tamiflu, the generic version of it. They've got 10 tablets of that. Pulmicort. They've got the generic version of that. There's a nebulizer also included. And the Pulmicort's like if you get an upper respiratory infection in your lungs, you can breathe it in. And I think it also helps with asthma, but you asthmatics, you know more about it than I do. A good friend of mine's an asthmatic. I don't know a lot about the medicines, but these things help. This is the kit. So go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Take those steps to protect yourself from the things that we never knew we could. That's the unfortunate part. And then that we know they're using against us. And that's the other sad part. You can protect yourself. You don't need the government to help you. You don't need to roll up your sleeve. You've got a medicine that very easily will counteract what they do. Very easily. You might feel shitty for a day or two, but it won't be as bad as it could be, most likely. You should talk to a doctor. And it won't last as long as it could. You should talk to a doctor. But these medicines make a huge difference. I've tried some of it. Joe Rogan did, and CNN. Remember they changed the filter to make his skin look whiter and grayer? Yeah, because they didn't want you to know. Roll your sleeve up. Don't take this pill. Seriously. twc.health/OTF. Donald Trump allegedly groped a model now. This is the thing going around. They're attacking him with this. We got this chick that came out 30 years ago, or whatever, 92. So that's close to 30 years, 32 years ago. Apparently, she was buddy-buddy with Epstein and Trump, and they were getting close and tight and hanging out for a while. And at some point, Trump groped her inappropriately. I'm sure she's got to be in New York, because then New York's going to open this case up and probably take one of Trump's properties, because somehow that's a legitimate way to solve these problems. Yeah, it's happening. Technofog posted this. We saw this in 2020. Same reporters, same publication, same allegations, same timing, same opponent, different elections. Seems the Democrats have a preferred venue to run their October surprise and a reporter willing to do their bidding. Yep, Lucy Osborne. Lucy Osborne showed up back in 2020. Guardian Today Amy Doris bravely told me about her allegation of sexual assault against Donald Trump. And here today, breaking, former model alleges Donald Trump groped her in what felt like a twisted game of Jeffrey Epstein. Twister? Naked Twister's a fun game. If you've never had a chance to try it, it's just a different game altogether. Just telling you, it's fun without the naked part, but it takes it to a different level. That's what I like about it. Oh, this is great stuff. Check this out.
Hey, y'all want to see me easily debunk Stacey Williams' timeline concerning Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump groping her? Okay, cool. Just watch this and then I'll show you how she's full of shit.
Late winter, early spring of 93, I was on a walk with Jeffrey from his brownstone on the Upper East Side down Fifth Avenue when Jeffrey looked at me and said, let's go stop by and see Trump.
Okay, you heard what she said, right? Late 1993, they were walking down Fifth Avenue having just come from Jeffrey Epstein's brownstone. In late 1993, Epstein didn't have that brownstone until 96. And the weird thing is, debunking that entire timeline took 30 seconds. That's how much research I had to do to completely destroy her entire narrative. She is off by 3 years. But she had to say 1993 because by 1996, Trump was no longer associating with Epstein. So she couldn't say 1996 because her whole story about Epstein saying, let's go see Trump wouldn't have made any fucking sense. And the sad thing is she could have just looked up when he bought that brownstone, or she could have just left that out of the story, but she didn't. And now we know her entire timeline is bullshit. If The Guardian had taken the time to do that, I wouldn't even have had to make this video.
But The Guardian never would take the time to do that, and that's why you make these videos. And you're probably you're probably doing okay because of it, right? It's not a bad thing. Doug Emhoff's ex-girlfriend, and I put this in here intentionally because I feel like it goes both ways, right? Doug Emhoff supposedly smacked his girlfriend. Well, now we're coming to find out she smacked her so hard it spun her around, though we heard she smacked him back. So I'm not sure if as spinning, she put her hand back out and just whoosh on the way back through. Maybe she was trying to fall and her hand was out and it happened to slap him. Don't know. Whatever the case is. Now this story has been amplified to a new level. Again, hitting a woman's always wrong. Obviously, this dude's a weirdo beating up on his woman, but he's about to be the first lady, sorry. First man. What do you call it? I don't know. Whatever. First bitch. Let's just call him that for now. So, again, yeah, horrible person, but, when we do it on our side, I feel like it's just as fucked up. Like, anyway, it's wrong. It's wrong. And if it's true, which it hasn't necessarily been proven, even though I felt like there was a statement given, but now the chick's upping the ante, which makes it worse. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe she got offered money. Now I want you to go out there and make it sound even more crazy because then people will realize you're lying. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't think Doug Emhoff's a good guy. He's tied into the deep state, of course. There is, I want to play, I think it was about 2 minutes of this, and it'll get to at least the nitty-gritty of this story, and then we can only assume what other crazy-ass stuff is going on. And if you guys want to try to dig, it's on Tori Says' Telegram channel. But yeah, he's talking about recycling plastic and getting rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. Getting rid of the leftover pizza boxes. Boxes specifically. Remember, there's a boxcar facility located right across the way from him. Boxes. I don't know. It could mean a lot of things. Keep that in mind when you watch this. Boxes. What could boxes be? What are they putting the pizza stuff in? Remember, pizza's the child stuff, for those of you that don't realize, because the individual that's doing this is either doing that to be ignorant, so he doesn't have this thing taken down, or he literally is that ignorant, has no idea what pizza is, even though Pizzagate happened a long-ass time ago. And, bro, seriously? Bruh, were you just born? You have no idea what pizza is? Whatever. I don't know. Some people play games. I do it sometimes, too. You got to. It's the game we play. Who knows?
Everybody out there quiet as motherfucker.
Hey, Kev, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
Yes, wrong person, the wrong question. Rihanna, did you attend any of P. Diddy's parties? That's crazy.
For Saturday, I'm coming to the party, yo. It's on.
John, you made a statement about Diddy. What? Any reaction to Diddy?
Did Jay reach out yet?
Nah, Bob, he ghosting.
Hey, this motherfucker doing?
How much I appreciate Puff Dad.
Do what the I told you to do.
I have the viral leaked Diddy phone call from prison, and this changes everything. It's gonna shock you. I'm gonna play the whole thing. It's like 2-3 minutes long. Make sure to like and sub because I'm dropping all the updates on the case as soon as I get them. Things are leaking left and right on Twitter and on TikTok. I just saw the audio of Diddy hooking up with Bad Bunny, and that thing is crazy. I'll play it for you later as well. But let's break down this phone call from prison where it seems like he's talking to his son, and the call is very difficult to understand. I don't know if it's something about the jail phone systems, but either way, we're gonna try to break down every single word, but I believe that they're talking in code because I can't understand what he's trying to say.
Pop, what up? Hey, yo, listen. Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone.
Here Diddy's being kind of smart because he knows everybody records prison phone calls, so he definitely knows that he can't say anything specific about the case, and you could tell by the rest of the conversation that he wants to make sure that they don't know what he's talking about.
I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes.
The what?
All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
So here we got Diddy talking in code about pizza boxes. I'm not sure what the reference is and what its actual code name for, but he's mentioning pizza and boxes separate. So I don't know what the pizza stands for and I don't know what the boxes stand for. If anybody knows what this means, leave it in the comments so we could talk about it. And also remember, this is just a legal disclaimer. Everything is alleged. We're not saying any of this is true. We're just reacting to something that we found on the internet.
Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's obvious Diddy knew he was going in and he had all this already set up on the outside for his son. And plastic could mean CDs. If he had some, videos on CDs or videos on flash drives, they're made of plastic. Even hard drives, a lot of them are made of plastic. So
yeah, plastic's a tough one. I don't know what plastic is. And again, I'm sure this thing's great. Not 9 minutes I have by any stretch. But yeah, crazy what's coming out. Crazy what we seem to be finding out. Trump-appointed judge cites basic defect while ending Mark Meadows' lawsuit against Jack Smith. Just sounds like he's asking a district court to do something that really shouldn't be done by a district court. It just sounds like they're pushing it back and saying you should be able to file and just get this information. He was trying to get information in a weird way, and it seems the court's basically saying just get it in the normal way within the trial you're in right now. Essentially, long story. Right, wrong, and different. It's kind of how that played out. Michael Avenatti's 14-year criminal sentence for embezzling settlements funds for his clients apparently needs to be recalculated. It's been pushed up to an appellate court. The appellate court basically said, yeah, no, the lower court was ridiculous on this one. I will also remind people, Michael Avenatti, yes, was involved with Stormy Daniels and all that nonsense, but Michael Avenatti's actually been public since all this Cohen stuff came out and talking about how that was a bunch of crap and all the Judge Mershon stuff he's been very outspoken about. So I feel like Avenatti showed himself to be on the right side of the picture. Whatever the case is, he got to the appellate court and they're like, yeah, no, a bunch of mistakes. I said the lower court, Los Angeles trial court that handed down the sentence in 2022 made a number of legal errors in reaching that conclusion, including applying an unwarranted obstruction of justice enhancement, a 3-judge panel for the U.S. Court of Appeals said in the Ninth Circuit, which I think they've been the ones involved with a lot of the gun stuff that's happened and been kicked back in this state, thank God, because of Second Amendment. The lower court also failed to account for the value of the legal services and money he did pay his clients when calculating the amounts the victims lost. Avenatti rose to fame, blah, 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 blah. So he'd already been found guilty, $25 million from the Nike extortion thing, right? He's not necessarily a good guy, but seems like he's learned his ways. I just think it's another example of how sometimes, folks, the sinner is the one that's going to rise up because they're the ones that have made the mistakes and been learned, gained wisdom, feel bad, did our repentance, paid the price, be it karmic or whatever. Usually it's all karmic. And because of that, we're wiser from making the mistake and learning from it. And again, many say all you have to do is ask for forgiveness. And if you truly mean it in your heart, which means you've learned, well, then you deserve forgiveness. I don't care who you are. You do. Especially the ones that are Christians. They're sometimes the ones that have the hardest time with this. If you've truly repented, it doesn't have to be a repent that you as a human understand. It's not your thing. It's between him and Christ, right? So if he truly has repented. And all he has to do is ask, and it is granted. And that's that. And we have to understand that also. Sometimes stuff is just the way it is. This North Korean thing, this is a trip. I don't know. They're doing the trash balloons, right, with poop in them and stuff, and dead animals and all this weird shit, and probably diseases, who knows. They were apparently able to maybe control these a little bit, I guess, because they got one of these to fly over the presidential compound and literally popped it, and it dropped poo. So they've got some technology on them. They're not just doing hot air balloons and just been like hoping they pop at some point and drop poo, or eventually come down and poo shall be found. I don't know. It's just, to me, it seems like such a weird thing. But then we had China, running balloons around our country and stuff. We also, I don't know if they had that, the drone attacks that were happening. What was it? Virginia area, right by DC. And I think there was one other location where they were having these drones coming out at night. And someone described them. I mean, the eyewitness accounts that I read about were saying they sounded like lawnmowers, but everyone was talking about how they were coming out of a mothership. Some ex-retired such said they were coming out of a mothership. And so everyone's like, they're UFOs. They're aliens. Why? Because they use the word mothership? That just means there's something flying around that's maybe got these drones in them, and those drones come back at night. And dirigible, it's probably closer, would actually fit a mothership concept. But it's funny how many people instantly go, UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Well, they are, kind of, but they sound like lawnmowers. Probably not even the best technology, because they're not even stealthy. If that's true, you would think if this really was like somebody spying on us, like it seems to be, that you would use better technology that's at least somewhat quiet. G7 allies are moving ahead with this $50 billion loan for Ukraine backed by frozen Russia. I don't think they've been able to pass it here, but we're supposedly on the hook for $20 billion of this $50 billion. We don't have any money for anybody in North Carolina, but we're going to give another $20 billion to Ukraine so they can keep killing themselves. That's like, I want to spend more money so my child can buy more fireworks and see if they can blow off their remaining 7 fingers. I'm just trying to illustrate how stupid the parent actually, it's like they've already lost 3 fingers. Yeah, but I think they've learned. I don't think so. Russian President Putin expressed appreciation for the sincere remarks by President Donald Trump regarding his intentions to resolve the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Who does he think's going to win? And who's he glad's coming back in the game? Who are they secretly going to be high-fiving behind this, right? The first time Trump sees him and there's no cameras on his punk ass, those dudes are high-five. There's probably some weird, it'd be like like Top Gun, right, with Goose. Remember they had their little high-five where top down, right? They hit that like, right? Like, they were cool, man, playing with the boys, right? Tom Cruise wearing jeans on a volleyball court. The fuck's that about? But whatever, he had his shirt off so all the ladies were happy. Why wasn't he wearing shorts? Oh, because he rides a motorcycle, man. All right. What are you going to do? I don't make the rules. China is conducting problematic research in the Arctic. Apparently, they're putting actual equipment. There's supposed to be this treaty that everybody's supposed to live by, and China's like, yeah, no, totally. What are you building there? We have a treaty. You're not supposed to build stuff. Yeah, totally. And they're like, yeah, but you're building something. No, we're not. It's just stuff. And they're like, yeah, but it seems to have like a dish and pointing up at the stars. It just looks like that. It's like a Chinese culture thing, and we're worshiping the dish god. Yeah, that's all. I mean, we're idiots. We're just like, oh, okay. Kamala's going to be like, right? Like, I mean, Trump's going to be like, here's the thing. We'll blow it up. How about that? You either stop building your dish god thing and abide by the treaty, or we'll accidentally blow it up. Or do something worse. We'll put the something god. I don't know. I had nothing. It would have been, it was phallic. I was going to go in a phallic direction. That was the best I had, and it's like, I can't say that. That's wrong. AT&T apparently went down yesterday, leaving a bunch of Americans without phone service. This time, 115 million users were impacted? Huh? I don't know. I have them for my internet. My internet never went down yesterday, and I have them for cable, and that didn't go down. Well, I don't watch TV that much anyway. Good expense there. So last couple stories, and so I can shut up and you guys can get back to your lives. Startup claims to have successfully achieved the first chat between two dreaming humans. Two people were sleeping, doing this weird thing. They went into lucid dreaming and were somehow able to communicate to each other. That's pretty cool. I know people that have done this without technology. I've been involved with some of these things. So, it is what it is. But again, one of the things that is happening right now that I think is problematic, but it's part of the transition, and it's just, there's a group of population that's going to need this, and so whatever works for you. But there's a lot of people that think you need technology to be able to do things. And the big thing from the spiritual standpoint is God gave you all the wiring inside. We've got a whole slew. We got a chakra system. We got all this crazy cool stuff. We've got the abilities to do a lot of things, to perceive a lot of things, to affect a lot of things that we don't need technology for. But we're so used to using technology that we think it's necessary. So there's a group of people that are going to go down a good path. It's a positive path, but they're going to think that technology is a must, and they're some of the people that are probably going to integrate with technologies possibly. And then there's this spiritual positive path that's like, no, God granted me all these wonderful abilities, and I'm going to learn how to use those better, and stop eating certain things and stop doing things that aren't good for us. It's like, so there's a lot to this, by the way. But I thought it was an interesting story and an excuse to bring up some of the crazy shit I love talking about. It's the reason I'm in the game, even though I think it's one of the things that turns off part of my audience, or not necessarily you guys, but maybe the ones that aren't here anymore. Truththread.shop, folks, if you guys want to be supportive. First off, it's a family. It's a good friend of mine that's helping. It's not her, but she is blonde. We've got kind of a family. There's husband, wife, 2 kids, and she's printing these shirts, and we're sort of working together. And this is a great way to help the channel, help get the truth wording out there, and it helps her be able to spread her thing, and helps me get my channel going and get some people talking about us. So we've got some specifically Dan Radio style gear. In fact, I was talking to somebody that was in one of our meetings, and he was wearing one of my hats, which I think's cool. I'm wearing one of the old ones right now. She gets pissed when I do that, but it's because I went to the gym, and I wear that to the gym because it gets all nasty. So I don't want to ruin a good hat with all my nastiness. Whatever the case is, I love the emblem. It's a D. The stand makes it an R, and then the thing's an S. So just for any of you that are like, what the frick is that? That's why it's my little emblem. I drew it on a thing, and somebody helped me get it digitized. So DRS is what that is, and I think it's cool. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So it's a cool way. It's all over the place. And they got shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, all that good stuff heading into wintertime, so you love that. And then we've got some really cool specific truther stuff, hence the truththread.shop. We've got 9/11 inside job, and she's got a whole bunch of stuff on the back. Pretty cool. It's one of those things where if you're standing in line at the grocery store, people are going to be like, no way, oh my God, I didn't know that was all true. And I'll be like, really? You read all that? That's pretty good. You're a speed reader. So Ephesians 6:12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rules of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Kind of works for a building. It's kind of funny. But yeah, very, very good stuff. So we've got all the 9/11 stuff, and we've got, of course, the Ephesians 6:11, shots fired, fight, 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 the whole armor of God thing. And remember, once you put the armor of God on, keep it on, folks. Don't take it off. And silly people taking it off. Like, no, I got to shower. It's like, trust me, your armor of God's shower safe. It's very cool that way. And, of course, 5G warfare. Just reminding people what we're going through. First generational, old flight battles fought with massed manpower, right? Second generational battles fought with rifles and muskets. Third is using late modern tech-derived tactics. Fourth, distinction between war and politics, right? Blurred. And the 5th generation, like information and all that good stuff. That's where we are. So it's just good reminders. It's a good way to, if you're somebody that likes to spread the word, if you will, and that could be Greece, could be the bird, but certainly could be something on the back of one of these shirts. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop to try to help out. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Sorry it's such a long show. Some of you, if you're still here, you're like, I don't care, Dan. I love it. And then all the people that already disappeared, yeah, they'll never hear it. Doesn't matter. We're doing it for the good of humanity. We're doing this to stay together, to help. And some of you guys, I think, truly appreciate it. And I think you guys are the ones that are making the biggest difference in the fight. So I do it for you. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe for Dan Radio Style.